Lemon Amiga presents a Playguide video review. Sit back and enjoy the show.
Welcome to another Lemon Amiga Play Guide and Review. This time we begin with Chrome. From the title screen you can see a limited number of icons and we can play 1 or 2 players. Chrome is a homebrew game developed by George Allen. And George Allen, as you will see, created Venus, the Flytrap. And you can see with this early demo, this is the demo that he sent in to Gremlin. You can see by collecting these stores we can top up our ammo, which is very limited in this game, and something's just reversed my controls, which means I'm having to wrestle with the controls. Luckily that does wear off after some time, so let's skip on to the main event. Earth. For countless millennia, haven for life in a barren galaxy. But in the space of a few centuries, man ruined the paradise created for him. A fast multiplying population coupled with a greater demand for agriculture led to the overuse of pesticides and the destruction of the rainforests. Mother Earth was fighting a losing battle. The final outcome was inevitable. In an attempt to correct this ecological mess, the group of scientists created a race of cybernetic insects. But an error in their genetic makeup caused them to go insane, killing every living creature they found on this planet. Something had to be done. Welcome to the main part of this review. This is Venus the Flytrap, developed by Gremlin Graphics and coded by George Allen, released to the public in 1990. You can see during the demo mode it gives us an idea of what the game is about, and you can hear some great music as well. Here we can enter a level code, and if you don't know any of the level codes you can just press enter and that should present us with the very first world, the Forbidden Forest. You can also see we can enter a number of credits as well. Let's give us 6 credits. Now we can press fire and let's check this game out. Venus the Flytrap holds a very special place in my memories because it's one of the first games that I saw, along with Apprentice and Lemmings and a few others, and so this thing, well, coming off a C64 background, this thing blew me away. It's copper shaded background, it's very crisp sprites, and it's very detailed enemies. And Paul Gregory and Gremlin went on to Zool. So if those flying hearts flying away look familiar, it's because they were in Zool, and if you watch my Zool review, you'll see this game being referred to. And you can see along the bottom we have a number of weapons, none of which we really hold at the moment, but we've picked up a big shot. That means if we pull backwards and press the fire button, we can switch to the big shot. Unfortunately, that thing only has a number of rounds, and with the normal shot we have an unlimited number of rounds, so that's why I'm saving the big shot for some enemies a bit later on. See, as we use the ammo, that will disappear in the top left corner, and you can see we also have a time limit as well, which will tick down, and we have segments of energy again, just like the later George Allen game Zool. Things begin fairly easy on level 1, and this is the long game that I'm trying to play at the moment. That's why I'm trying to hold on to the ammo, because that will carry over from level to level, so I'm not using the big shot at the moment. And you won't pick up any extra weapons. I think you pick up one extra weapon per level, and when you blow up these enemies they will drop a canister, and oil that will give us a few bonuses, a ring tab that will give us absolutely nothing at all apart from maybe a bit more score, and stopwatch that gives us some more time. So you never know what you can collect. And you can see this screen is stretched because it was recorded a couple of years ago using WinUAE's stretched auto stretch method, and that's why it looks pretty stretched. But this game was an NTSC compatible game as usual, and that means that I like to play this full screen. You can see something that helps us, well, maybe that makes us bounce. I'm not quite sure. Let's check that out. Does it make us bounce or does it make us grip? I'm not quite sure what that is, but whatever it is on the floor, we're definitely going to avoid it because, well, let's grab that. And you can hear the sound effects on offer are also pretty beefy at this stage, and that is pretty good. They were also pretty beefy in Chrome as well, so this thing is a step up from Chrome. And what's in here? Well, that is extra bullets. As far as I know, we now have 163 bullets in there with the big shot, and they will be fired 3 times as much when we pick up the 3-way, and of course the 4-way as well. But we won't be picking up those for quite some time. You can see the enemies on offer are pretty basic at this stage in the forest, and you can see although everything is nice and colourful, there isn't too much of a variety on offer. Switching back to the big shot, let's rampage through this level as quickly as possible. Grab those bonuses, that's some more ammo. So if you know where the ammo is, you've got it memorised, you can go and collect that. I'm not sure how much we can collect at maximum, but at least 200 bullets, and that's very good. So let's use this trampoline, the up arrows, make sure that we can jump 3 times higher than normal, which is terrific. And so let's switch back to that normal shot, because sometimes the enemies that require us to bounce around, whoa, that's a shield. Sometimes if you're bouncing around you could be spending ages on those enemies. You see, some plants we can walk behind, some plants we can't, and that shield will last a decent amount of time, although not forever. So you have to be quick and kill those enemies. And that thing that looks like a bomb, it doesn't do anything. So you can pick up mushrooms as well, doesn't do anything, just gives us a bit of bonus. And just like Zool, you'll find your energy rushing away pretty quickly, so you'll have to be on your toes to collect that pretty quickly as well. Now we've reached the end of the level. I don't think these pickups are random, but I like to destroy everything anyway, just in case it gives us something that we need. And if that thing is extra ammo, we'll definitely need that for the later levels. I'm not quite sure how many there are, maybe 7, 8, 9, 10, but we will be seeing some of the later levels, because I will be entering some passwords later on. For now, let's see how far we can get with this game, and it's easy so far. A nice gentle romp through that landscape, and even though these bouncing things could have been a bit better on the Apidia kind of a line, the graphics are good, and I wouldn't say the main character is badly drawn. The main character is very nicely animated. It's just that with a lack of things in the background, even Zool, even though it wasn't as colourful as this, had more going on. But you can see for 1990 this was in the stage where the Amiga was getting away from EGA type graphics, and on the early period the Amiga was lush with an amazing 16 colour graphics, which really did not make use of the Amiga's colours whatsoever. But by 1990 we get a few games that used the copper effect. That was something in the Agnes chip. It's a core processor, and a copper list means that you can put all the colours on the screen, the colours in the list, and if you list that in the background, that will list all the colours without wasting any CPU time, because that uses the Agnes chip. So that's one of the tricks that they finally learnt by 1990, and we did get shaded games. Look at that, all the way up to 280 ammo. We did get shaded games after 1990 on the Amiga, not much, unfortunately, before then. You can also hear some music in the background, and I really do love the music on the title screen, on the loader and in the background as well. So you can hear the music and the sound effects are fairly flashed out, and this is certainly more colourful and detailed than Tearaway Thomas that we saw, but just as much detail as far as presentability in Tearaway Thomas, and character and charm as well. This definitely has character and charm, and it definitely lures the player in and encourages them, even though these simple, really minimal repeating graphics do get on your nerves. The landscape will change eventually. As I said, there may be 10 levels in this game, of which we're going to see a few in this play guide. One of the tricks that you're going to have to learn is to balance on the corners, and if you can do that you won't get hit. And so I'm going to have to balance on the corner there, and for this one I can jump straight over it, and I can balance on the corner as well. Let's just get rid of it, nothing inside, and that means we can leap out to Area 4 of the Forbidden Forest. I think there are 5 areas. Once you've been through them, then it credits us with that win. Get to move on to the next world. So level 4 is pretty similar, but with every level it introduces us to something different. And with the previous level you might have seen that the screen does flip, or rather our character does flip on the screen, so you can walk on the roof, and if there is no roof you'll simply die. So do not collect the screen reverse icon unless there is something on that roof. You can see we've collected almost 400 ammo now with the big shot, and we're still playing the long game. We're still using the normal weapon to try to get us through the game, so let's speed our way through it. And there's nothing really hit or miss about this at this point, because you can't really go wrong unless you rush through it, and rushing through this game obviously is not the best way to go through it. If you want a nice Sunday afternoon romp through the countryside, this might be the one for you. This game has tons and tons and tons of levels, but that's an upside. The downside is you'll have to play through them all, and that means the game does take ages, but you do get passwords. That's the good thing. The bad thing is you can't always use them to full effect. You can see we're using the screen flip now, so that we can walk on the ceiling, and if we time this correctly we can flip down again and kill those enemies. Big jumps available there, that's a nice jumping spot, and you're not stuck for something to do. That's a 1-up. That means we get an extra life. That means we're on 3 lives at the moment, so you can make your way through the game, conserve that energy, which we have 0 at the moment, and at the moment I'm just trying to make my way through it, and I can't find any extra energy, so we're just going to have to try to make our way as best as possible. Of course, if you run out of energy, you have to start the level all over again from the start of it, I think, so we don't really want to do that. And those time deficits as well, if we start to lose time on these levels, it means unfortunately we'll run out of time, but usually the time is pretty generous. Let's move on to the bonus level, where we get to shoot something in horizontally shooting, scrolling shoot 'em up. If this level reminds you of different games, well, let's just check those out. If you remember from Apidia, that background looked fairly similar. Arabian Nights as well, pretty similar effect, and Lionheart was great. But if we show Your Jaw as well, if you remember in our Your Jaw review we showed this exact same comparison zone, so you can see that people have borrowed effects from other people. You can see we're on 0 energy at the moment, and we can't collect any extra energy, so that means that's bonus over. That means that we move on eventually to the next world. Mantids is the password, and Mantids is definitely a password that I remember entering when I used to play this game. You can see we flip to the big shot in an attempt to try and kill those enemies. They don't take any more number of shots to kill at this stage, and you can see that the enemy variety is pretty much identical to that which was on the first level. But this lures us in because there are some traps, and if you fall into different pits, especially if you're upside down, whoa, that's a 3-way. If you fall into pits, then that can be a bad thing. Let's check out the 3-way, and that's again great for flying enemies, as long as we get those on target, but that will waste shots at 3 times the rate. So we did have 300, now we're not on that shot at all, we're now on 186, and we missed the energy as well. So we're now on the ice level, and the ice level introduces us to a new problem, and that is getting stuck. And you have to get on these platforms in the right order, otherwise you'll get stuck, and that means that I'm going to have to press escape, and I'm going to have to try this level all over again. Let's enter that password. Fortunately I have to do that with the controller. Mantids. And you have to write that down as well, because it's not a random word, it's definitely something that is there, and I definitely remember that from back in the day. So it does take ages and ages to put it all in. Let's speed that up, and let's check out that second level, that second world again. You can see if we choose to enter a password, we will get exactly the same power up, exactly the same spot. We got the 3-way, but the 3-way is not very good because it wastes a lot of ammo. You can see we've had an ammo reset, so we're down to 47, which is not good. So it means if you lose a life, well, you should be able to pick up the big shot at some point throughout the next level. The game does do that for us, and it's very fair that it does give us a big shot at some point on the next level. You don't know where it's going to be. And look at that, this is the point that we got stuck on before. Let's not get stuck again, because once that screen scrolls, that's it. you won't be able to scroll it backwards. So that's definitely something else to look out for in this game. Dead ends, and a dead end means it doesn't matter how many lives you've got or how many bullets. If you find those dead ends and get trapped, then that means you're gonna die. So we found the three-way in exactly the same place, but at some point again it will give us the big shot, hopefully, if we play our cards right, and that is because we had to restart the level. It doesn't always, well, it won't give us the big shot unless we've lost it, so it will simply give us a bonus instead. We haven't found the big shot. There it is, there's the big shot. So I've gone on about that. We've now got the big shot back, and now hopefully, apart from that massive ammo detriment, we should be more or less back to where we were before. This game was coded by George Allen, and it says the Amiga version, so probably this was an Atari ST conversion, hence the very limited graphics, but the Atari ST conversion is more or less identical to this. The graphics were created by Paul Gregory, the same Paul Gregory from the Freescape games, the same Paul Gregory and George Allen that went on to Switchblade 2, that we may or may not have seen already in these play guides, and the same Paul Gregory who created the Freescape games and Castle Master and all that. So Paul Gregory there working with Gremlin. Additional graphics were created by Bernie Greggs, who also created the graphics for 3D Galax, and Greg Norman's Ultimate Golf, which was quite good on the graphics front in 1990. The game Chrome that we saw right at the beginning, that was released on as a full game on Seal Amiga cover disc 35 in June 1992. So yes, at least 3 years after it was sent to Gremlin as a demo disc and accepted, they basically polished it up, released that as Venus the Flytrap, and if you load up Switchblade 2 and type Chrome on the title screen, that will play Chrome. That's a free game that was on Switchblade 2, but as I say, it was also released as a full game on CU Cover Disc 35. So it was on the scene as a free game and a full game, free full game. So Chrome is amazing, and the crack protection of Venus the Flytrap meant it was a very difficult game to crack, and I didn't have a working crack of this for a long time, and loading this up, even the WHD load struggles if you're loading that with the wrong kickstart. And so this game, well, I'm not sure it pushes any frontiers. Look at that, falling directly onto the roof causes to die if there is no roof there to fall onto. So I do have great memories of this game, and padding through this stage at a time, one platform in front of another, can be fun, and it can be a great progression run, but you can see you'll have to memorise a few things, and if you can do that, great. If you can't, well, you're going to have to memorise them, otherwise you might find yourself in those dead ends. And I think on every level or every world, apart from the first one, there are those dead ends, so if you fall down pixel too much and you can't climb out of those pits, that's unfortunate for you, because it means you're going to have to start that level all over again. It's also highly annoying to see our health floating away as well, so if you don't hightail it after that straight away, you gonna have to find it somehow. Colliding with those enemies, well, it's not great at the best of times. Let's move on to the next area. And as I say, I think there are 5 areas in every level. I also think it's a terrific effect when we die, lose all our energy, will blow up. And this thing reminds me of a grasshopper, or maybe a locust. And locusts, of course, are famous for eating anything. And these things, hopefully, are not going to eat much on this level. They're not eating anything because they fire towards the enemies. And it's a good job that we don't have any plant life. And look at that, another reverse controller. Just like Chrome, that will reverse and wear off after a bit. So what we picked up there, it looks like another 3-way, I'm not quite sure, but of course we'll have to pick up those weapons all over again. And if you're on a level that gives you the mortar and not the 3-way, then you'll get the mortar instead and the 3-way will not appear. So you're going to have to be good at these levels, and you're going to have to get used to moving through them without dying if you want the best chance at the best weapons. Again, don't fall down here. Oh, I fell down here by mistake. That's another pit of death, and that's annoying. That means that we cannot complete this mission or even this game. So let's just quit out from that and go back to the Lemon Amiga website where we found all those passwords and Psylids. I'm not quite sure what a Psylid is, but this is definitely cyborg kind of a game because we're playing with a cyborg robot. So let's enter that. That's the Wood World. I've no idea what password we're unlocking, but let's check out some of the graphics of the later levels as well and see if that music changes. And as you can see, what a surprise! Virtually the exact same enemies on this level, and you can see a colour palette change in the background and a very nice wood effect as well. At this stage the enemies will be firing towards us, so if you haven't got the best weapons to knock those out, unfortunately you're going to have to pick up those the long way and the hard way. And that's one bad thing about the game, if you got to hold on to the weapons and the ammo between levels and you got to restart those and you didn't get stuck, then I definitely give this an 8 out of 10. But you can and you do, so let's enter another password a long way using the joystick, unfortunately, and let's see what we're going to enter this time. Is it going to be Nocturne? Maybe Nocturne is another password, and well, we're at the translucent something or other. We've got 6 credits, not that those will help us if we go into a dead end. You can see a Christmassy theme level, and you can see pretty similar enemies and more background objects, which is pretty fun once you get to this stage in the game, but it might take a few hours to get this far. Taking a look at those scores, the Lemon Amiga crew basically wasted no time in rating this the lowest score at 65%, complaining that there are just too many levels and there isn't enough going on to make this a classic. Amiga Action gave this 72%, Amiga Format gave it 79%, Dato gave it 80%, Acar gave it 82%, The One gave this 83%, CO Amiga gave this 84%, even Amiga Joker awarded this game 87%, Zero gave it 88%, Joystick gave it 90%, Zap gave it 90%, CMVG awarded this 94%, and the Games Machine gave Venus the Flytrap 95%. That means the average score is 8.5 out of 10. I think this is a great game, definitely worth a 7 in my book, spoiled by a few things. And look at that, another dead end! I can't flip myself to the right side of the screen, so I found another dead end of the game. That's annoying, that's infuriating, and that means that's this play guide and review over. Thank you.